So in this video I will be covering Joey's Locksmith.com. Joey's been in the business for 20 plus years and reached out to me through a mutual friend to basically recreate this website as we see it here. And the task was to recreate it on his local server. This website is currently being hosted elsewhere. It just needs to be recreated. And so I offered to recreate it, but also make some slight improvements from the obvious things that I saw. So as you can see, this is the older homepage here, with roughly maybe 3 to 4 content rows, maybe 6. Let's count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's 5, excluding header and footer. And this is the new homepage that we have here. So the first thing we have is I moved some text up top here to give the header less space, because the old site, the header was humongous and it was taking up so much room. I deleted the contact us link because for service-based sites you only need a request service form. If someone needs to contact you regarding other things, they can also use the request service form. You don't usually need a contact plus request service form. And that gave us more space to work with the header, because you can see there's way too many links down here. Moved the number up here to the call button. Added the slider, the actual slider here. This previous website didn't have a slider. Just text standing still there. On this one it has a Ken Burns effect going on, so you see a little bit of zoom as you go in. Slowly zooms in, and then you can also see more context that I've added here that wasn't previously on this site. Basically I took these little subsections of interest and then created content, little short sentences, paragraphs underneath, and added a call button on each slide. As we go down, I added a call to action form to try to break up the slider from the rest of the content. I see that this was attempted to be done here, but it's just wasn't enough time put into that. So I created a quick call to contact form to try to catch some leads to the homepage. As we go down, we start to get to the video section, which I thought would be better to bring up above the fold. And as you can see down here, it's near the bottom of the site, and it's not really designed well, showcased well. So I changed that, added, grabbed some context with a title tag, and just basically made it better, more appeasing to the eye. The only thing is with these videos is that video adds quite a bit of load time to a page. So for this video, it's actually adding about 3 seconds to the page load. So that might be something that may need to be removed, but I didn't want to, update the design and update everything and recreate it without grabbing all of the content that was from the older site. So I kept it in there. As we go down, we get a divider section here with the parallax effect. As you can see, the image in the background stays still while everything else is sliding. And I grabbed this have you served our great country content. To showcase the discount for military members that Joey's Locksmith is offering. And I added it to break up. I added up above so I could break up these rows of content, because on this older site there's just it's row after row sticking together, and there's no like divider or breakup in between, so it's kind of overboard how the content is just neck and neck. And as we go down, we have our second block of content that was pulled from the older site, which is here. I also updated the images. There's a zoom in effect as well. And so I got another call to action section here with another parallax effect in the background. So you can see the picture in the background staying still. And these are all brand new images site-wide. I couldn't use any of the older images from this site because there is a little disclaimer that says the content of this website is owned and by us and our licensors. Do not copy the content. So moving forward, I didn't want any of this old content to create a conflict, so I basically found new Locksmith images for every section. And some of this content was rewritten. Some of it is new content that wasn't previously written on the older site. And then as we go down, I grab the testimonials, or the companies that have worked with Joey's Locksmith here, which are not displayed on the home page, but they are displayed on the Our Clients page, and I'll get into some of the notes I have about that later. But as we go down, then we get down to the blog content, which is really the needle pusher for pretty much every website, is the content. And on this old site, just as a quick jump to, which is because the content here, the blog content, is not mentioned on the home page. But as we go to the actual blog page, we see content that's not actually related to Joey's Locksmith at all. And that's harmful to the website because it distracts from the topical relevance of being a locksmith, providing locksmith services and everything. So, that was something that I wasn't going to copy over, and I knew not to copy over because of my background in SEO. But I went a step further and actually just created some articles that are around 500 to 1,000 words a piece for the website. And this was not something that we negotiated or anything. This was just something that I went to throw in there to help Joey out, so he could start to gain some topical relevance, because a lot of these small business owners who work in these day in day out type businesses, they don't really have the time to really look at the importance of content marketing and how it can grow the business over time. So sometimes it's just easier just to throw in a couple of content pieces in there and just see what they do a year from now. See if they pick up any traction. You don't have the time to do in-depth keyword research and in-depth planning behind the content, but if you can throw in a couple of pieces of content in there, and you can say, in a couple of months, this is bringing in impressions, this is bringing in clicks, this is bringing in traffic. That's something that the client can look back and say, maybe it might be worth pursuing. So I put those in there for him. And then we have a bottom footer here, which I redid because this footer just felt too wide. As you can see, it doesn't match the header width, and that's something that, like if I just take a thing here, you can see that the header width is from here to here, right? And then look at the footer outside of the header width, outside of the main page container. So if we look at the footer width is, so wide, just so wide. And that's something that I noticed. So I redid the footer, kept the same information, but redid it, add the socials underneath, and just reformatted the information so they could fit within the wireframe of the rest of the website. And so yeah, that's the home page. And then we go to the lock and key services page, which I would have changed some things like page names and stuff like that, but I didn't want to make too many changes. I want to keep it as close as to what what I was seeing, so that there wouldn't be too much overstepping. But I named it Our Services. You can still pull the H1 there for lock and key services if necessary. And all of the pages have this this top banner, this top scrollable banner up here with the page name inside, which is dynamic. So if the page name is changed, then the text inside this banner will change. But I did this to separate the header from the rest of the content, because if we jump here, they also have a divider here. And then as we go down, we actually get into the meat of the page, which some of the things that just jump out to me that I couldn't have really spent too much time on, but the quality of the images here. And when you click them, it jumps into this weird, ginormous light box here that makes the entire page black. So that's a weird thing that this site does. So I basically just took the same images, screenshot these images, because these were a lot of different logos here, and just reformatted them here, because how this was put in, it was incorrect, and I don't know too much about these brands, but I just wanted to get the images over, so I made it all one image. But in the future, these are going to have to be grabbed individually, which will take a little bit of time. But whoever created this site initially didn't take the time to do that. And the sidebar here, I'm not sure what these are actually supposed to be or do. Those just seem like they were thrown in there. And on the sidebar here, I've got tags from the articles, I've got recent posts, I've got the business hours, the contact information, and the service areas with the search bar instead. Straight to the point. Nothing too crazy or complicated. Just simplistic results that are going to help the business. And the same information is carried over here. Same pictures. Everything's carried over as we go down. Same images. And then why choose us? Why choose us? And that's the services page. I'm going to jump to the about page because I believe I changed the order of these links. So let me just go to the about page real quick. So you can see we've got a new image on the about page. I'm not sure if Joey does this type of locksmith service. I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to take any risks. So I went with a more traditional lock and key type image. And as you go down, you get the content here. And then as you go down, you get the content here. So the same content listed. And then we'll jump to the Our Clients page, which is kind of where I tried to spend a little bit more time on grabbing these images in the proper resolutions. So this is the old page, right? And the thing that just bothered me the most is the quality of these images. And because this page is primarily just one paragraph and some images, I couldn't in good conscience just carry this over. Although this is a recreation, I could not skip that, especially with the slide box effects, which is crazy. So I actually went and found all of these images individually and added them in. They're easier to see, they're higher quality, and they're more they're updated versions of these images. So what we have here, that was so bothersome. I actually took the time to find the unique images for all of these. This is not something that was asked of me to improve the images, but it's something that I just decided to do because I couldn't overlook that. Moving on to the blog. As we have here, as I said earlier, we have blog posts here that are unrelated. So with the blog post, each one of these blog posts, was quickly created for the purposes of the site. I could spend all day talking about the importance of taking your time on blog content, but this was more so a focus on the recreation of the website than it was actually creating the content. So I could optimize these posts further, but for now this is decent enough considering what was there before. And as we go back, we check these single pages. This is how the single page looked before, which I strongly disagree with single pages that don't have the sidebar because there's so much you can do with it. But that's the blog. So the blog posts. As we move over to the request service page, let's go over there. We have a form, fields, info, form, fields, info, and basically, it's a complete recreation. There's some noticeable differences underneath the hood. It's not identical recreation top to bottom, but it is an improvement in some areas, and that's really the core differences. Also, this this logo was something that I had to crop out as well, and just generally just tried to make some improvements wherever I could. But the biggest difference really was the performance differences. Now, as I said, the things that add a lot of time to a site, are things like the JavaScript, how many things are being called, how many requests are being made, what's being requested, the size of what's being requested. So this GT metrics report actually showcases the old site's performance speeds. It gives a C and D for the page speed score and the YSlow score. And the fully loaded time is around 5 to 8 seconds, but that's primarily due to the video. So, the site is actually loading at about 3 to 8 seconds, which the old site, is loading without minus the video, it loads at pretty much average speeds. Page size was a bit large, but that's due to the video as much as other things not being optimized. And as you can see, as you scroll down here, you can see that there's too many redirects, the cache is not set up properly, compression is not being done, and there's JavaScript not being deferred. And so these are some of the things that just pop up and mess with the performance. So on the new site, though, we have an A+ score on the page speed score and a B on the Y slow. The fully load time could have been much lower, but the video is just something that is going to have to either be removed or kept on. A decision has to be made behind that. I would opted to remove it, and that would knock us down to 3.6, which is 0.2 milliseconds faster than this. But I do think that I could even get this down further once I move it over to Joey's server. Also, the total page speed side has dropped from 3.2 megabyte to 1.2, so that's a huge improvement. And the number of requests have basically been cut in half. So basically, it's a leaner, smaller, faster performance score test, and that's ultimately what we love to see. As we can see, we almost got pure 100s on everything here, and and here we've got some D's and F. So it's stuff like that that are really measurable. Design aside, I do feel like the design is an improvement, and performance aside, it's a clear improvement. And those are the things that basically showcase the value of getting something done seemingly professional. Even if you're working on a budget, if you can just work with a professional and someone can come in, and whether they spend 8 to 10 hours on something, they can give you improvements that may shave months off of time to building a successful website. But yeah, that's basically it. If you've got any thoughts or any suggestions or anything like that regarding the project or any feedback, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. Bye.